My wife and I are proof that toxic relationships can heal. My name is Amber, and I can create reality, and I have created a different reality than what a lot of people say online. People say toxic relationships and toxic people and narcissists like can't be healed. Walk away. No, no point. No point. And my wife and I just couldn't do that. We've been together for the better part of 25 years, and it was a rough road. About 17 years of that, we were toxic. We were the definition of toxic, bringing each other down. We were toxic to each other. We were toxic to ourselves. It was awful. We were codependent. Our feelings were 100% reliant on how the other was moving in the world. And we were trauma bonded in such awful ways. We abused each other in ways that were unacceptable. We treated each other in unacceptable ways, and we kept coming back. We gaslit each other. We manipulated each other emotionally, physically. It was awful. It was awful. But the truth is, we didn't feel whole ourselves. We were like two halves, and we thought that we needed each other to be whole. And that wasn't the truth. But we didn't know any better. Like, our idea of love was what we saw in movies. It was the rom-coms or whatever you saw on TV. And then our experiences at home, which weren't the healthiest growing up. So we both had very different ideas of what a relationship should be. And trying to come and meet in the middle was really hard. Our relationship is actually was, because now it's calmed down, but it was super passionate, super passionate. So, and we're talking physically, it was super passionate and fiery, but our fights were just as fiery. It was just like hot and cold, fire and ice all the time. But the bottom line really turned out being, we found out a couple decades in, we didn't feel worthy. We needed each other's love. It wasn't like a choice. We did love each other. We found out later we wouldn't have lasted this long. But it came from some unhealthy places. It came from need. It came from needing to feel whole and needing to be a part of, to have worth, to have self-worth, to have any kind of confidence whatsoever or any self-esteem. It's like we needed each other to be okay. But the way it worked was we would break up many times, many times, and each of us would do better without the other. Yes, we missed each other. Yes, it was miserable. Yes, we wanted to be together. But she would get dressed out. She would go out. She would have a social life like I had wanted. And I would feel free. I would feel like I wasn't in a cage. And but she would be so lonely and we would be so lost without each other. It was like we didn't know how to move in the world without the other around, which is not healthy. That's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. But we had to learn how to love ourselves. And to do that, we had to take space from each other. Sometimes it was breakups. Sometimes it was just physical space. I'll never forget the time that she told me, and this is many years in. Well, this was probably like 5, 6 years ago. I was a hot mess, and I would take out everything on her. Everything. Like all of my feelings got put on her. All of my reflections, all the things that I felt about myself, which were not good, I put on her. I would judge her and criticize her, and everything was her fault for a hot minute. And I was just in a mood again, going off again, bringing her down again. She got to the point where she didn't even feel like she could act happy or be happy about anything because I would always bring it down. I was so depressed, so depressed. Not excusing it, but this is just facts. And she just got to a point, she was working full time, going to school, like, and taking care of everything I couldn't take care of at the time in our home. And that was a lot. And she was like, I just can't deal with you right now. I'm going to go into the room and lay down. I just can't do this right now. And I was like, oh, like, you're not going to take my shit. I didn't actually think or say that, but that boundary that she put up, and it came from a place of desperation and just being tired, and just she literally couldn't. I had pushed her so far that she was just like, I just can't. I can't even be around you right now. And I don't know why that was like such a wake up call. Probably because like for so long she just took my shit, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, she's not a saint. Like there was a period of our relationship in the beginning where I took some of her shit too. It went both ways. It went both ways, like a lot. I feel like she kind of had it a little rougher and a little longer, a lot longer. But the point is for a toxic relationship to heal, for any relationship to heal, it doesn't have, you don't have to wait until it's toxic. If you're not happy and they're not happy and you want to stay together, sometimes you just need space from each other while being in the relationship. Her and I have made massive strides in the past 7 years because I stepped back after she shut me down. I was like, well, I'm going to have to deal with my emotions, aren't I? And I learned things. I looked into things. She had already had this moment when I was homeless. She had no choice but to look into things and kind of see what happened and figure out how to be in life and how to be without me, and to put responsibility where it belonged on me sometimes, and then for her to take responsibility to what her part was. And that was an eye opener. And she had to have, while I was gone for 2 years, that time. Well, I ended up taking that time and doing those things while we were together. So you can break up and do this and then come back together with your person, or you can be in the relationship and be like, I'm going to stop focusing on you and I'm going to make me happy. Because her doing that and being like, I've got some boundaries now. I'm not going to let you push me around now. I'm not going to just drown myself anymore for you. I can't. I just can't handle it. So now I have to focus on myself. So if you want to change your toxic relationship and see if there is really a way to heal it, because I'm not saying they're all healable, I highly suggest backing up, working on yourself, asking yourself, what makes me happy? What do I enjoy? What is my perfect day with my partner? And not putting anything on the other person. Learning about yourself, and this can take some time, especially if the relationship has gotten to a point of being toxic and codependent and painful. That's what happens. And if your relationship has got there, don't expect this stuff to go like happen overnight. Don't expect to just, I'm going to listen to some podcasts, I'm going to read some stuff about healing my relationship and healing my heart and healing my wounds and my traumas, and it's going to be like, oh, a month later we're going to come together and be all happy. No. So she took those 2 years, and I have to get to a place where I feel like healthy and she can count on me and I can count on me, because that's what had to happen first. It has taken, I went into a deep dive into myself for about 3 years, but I was like a homeless heroin addict. So it probably won't take you that long. Here's hoping. So, but seriously, it's been years. It has taken years, because once she healed herself and or began the process of healing herself, and once I began the process of healing myself, then we kind of had to heal the body in between. There's my energy, there's her energy, and then there's this poor energy in between us who has experienced all of it. And that energy has to be healed. It has to be nurtured. We have to learn how to have her healed self, and my healed self come together and learn how to heal together. Because just because I got better at dealing with things with myself and she did, doesn't mean that we know how to communicate together. Our communication was broken. Broken probably from the beginning. We weren't fantastic communicators. We started off by fighting pretty much 24/7, literally. So we had to learn how to communicate from the beginning. We had to like kind of redate each other. And then I had gotten clean and I'd gotten off of medication. And so we kind of had to learn who we were together. And it was a beautiful thing. One of the most easy practical things that you can do in your relationship, and I strongly suggest that you do this while you're working on yourself, is make it a point every single day And her and I came to an agreement about this, is you say something nice to each other that you like about the other person, that you love, that you're grateful for, that you're happy about, something different every day. And you each exchange those comments or whatever they are about each other every day. Start doing it just for like 30 days. Because I'm going to be honest, when we first started this, it was kind of, I got chills. Like, it was kind of hard to come up with things that we liked about each other, that we were grateful for. Like, our relationship had gotten so bad, it was like, I knew why we were together. We loved each other. We had a life. We were trying to fix things. However, it's just like, why though? Why are we together? What do I even like about you? What does she even like about me? I mean, we're constantly like at each other's throats and unhappy. But doing this practice, it reminds each other like the entire relationship isn't bad. It feels that way because it's so heavy and it's been like that for a long time. But just revisit things. Thank you for doing the dishes. Thank you for taking out the trash. Thank you for not yelling at me today. Thank you for making dinner. I mean, it can be very simple, but it's just thank you, gratitude. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for trying with me. Just anything, literally anything that you are grateful for. Thank you for putting the seat down on the toilet if you got that going on. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that. Like, I mean, it can really be simple. And you might have to start out with stuff that's really simple like that. Thank you for not burping at dinner. Like, you can get complicated, you can get in it or what, but remind each other why you're together. Because as that builds, you build love back up. Because the whole entire relationship doesn't suck, or you would not have kept it up, truthfully. So another thing was like boundaries. She put up a boundary. I had to put up boundaries too, because part of our relationship was control. At first, she had insecurities and she thought I was going to leave her. We both have abandonment issues. I went into that and I had insecurities and I thought she was going to leave me for a while. We have both been through cheating. There's been cheating on both sides. So, I mean, we've been through it. So there's trust issues. So, but my boundaries were I have to have a life. I have to have friends. She's an introvert. And I'm like half introvert, half extrovert, actually. That's what my 16 personalities test said. And I really agree with that. Like, I have to have my alone time. Like, everybody get out of the house. And then I have to have my connection time with other people without worrying about her getting upset. Because that happened a long time ago. And it caused problems. It caused problems. I felt like I lived in a cage. I felt like our relationship was me being in a cage, and I couldn't prove my love to her. I couldn't prove my trust to her. I couldn't prove anything to her, and it was really hard. And long story short is we had to have some understandings that these things had to happen, but I needed to communicate with her. So we had to, like, we have to be open. I told her I'll share my location with you. I'll tell you who I'm going out with. And if you have a problem, tell me. We have to open up about things. So you have to open up about your needs. But if you don't know what your needs are, how's that going to happen? You have to know what they are. So, and you have to ask yourself, that's where you back up from the relationship. And you don't have to break up. You don't have to. You can, but you can do this yourself. You can take time on your own to look into things yourself and get to know what's going on and how to heal things, how to improve things. Whatever you Google search, like, oh, how do I fix my toxic relationship? How do I help my so and so trust me? Whatever it is that you are wondering, look it up and get some information. Chances are your phone's going to give you information that could work for you, most likely. My phone knows me pretty well. I feel like the stuff that comes on my phone, for the most part, not everything, use your discernment, it's meant for me. So pull up something wherever your favorite search engine is and type in what you want to know about your relationship, about yourself. What can I do to heal my toxic relationship? And then do your scrolling, and where your eyes are drawn to, just make the intention. I'm going to be drawn to something that's actually going to help. Please, universe, don't waste my time. It'll happen. It'll work. Another one that was really important for me was not blaming anymore. not putting everything on her, but also not beating myself up for everything. So there's a fine line in all of this. We have to take accountability for things that are our fault, and that takes space, backing up, zooming out, and being like, okay, really, what is my part in this? Because sometimes things are happening and you're like, that's your fault. That's your fault. I know if you didn't do that, I wouldn't do this. Nobody's actions make you feel anything. Your feelings come from within. We got some beeping. That's a really good timing for that because that is such big truth. I didn't know. Nobody makes me feel anything. I make myself feel things based on my experience, my past, and how I feel about it. Just how I feel about it. She doesn't make me do anything. So if she does something and it bothers me, I have to ask myself, why did that bother me? It's not her making it happen. There's something that triggered me that made it happen. So what's that trigger and how do I get rid of it? Because then she can keep doing all of the whatever it was and it won't bother me anymore. I learned that too. So, and then respecting ourselves, like, and I think I've said that already. We had to learn to respect ourselves, respect our boundaries, respect our wants, our needs, and then share them. No matter what was going to be said, no matter what, sometimes we've shared things that were not like immediately like, oh, that was good. Okay, I understand. No, like we've shared things and, both of us, I don't think I like that. And that is open communication. That is being ourselves, being vulnerable, being truthful. And that took time. That took a lot of time because at the beginning, when we were just trying to build our relationship, it was, we just want some calm. I want to not fight. I want to not be upset all the time. And that was me taking time and getting to know myself, taking accountability and responsibility for my part, and allowing the relationship to breathe. Just having some calm. Like it was just so nice to be like, oh man, we haven't fought in fill in the blank. Honestly, it's been like years now. But that took a while. We have disagreements. Don't get me wrong. We have heated disagreements sometimes, but we have learned. Take a minute, breathe, and come back. So, but all of that takes practice. It takes practice and it takes getting to know yourself. Number one, respecting yourself. Number one, and figuring out what is your ideal relationship look like. Because it's not just about, oh, if they didn't do this, it would be perfect. No, you got to ignore the other person. Ignore them. Because the truth of the matter is, do you even know what your perfect relationship looks like? What would you be like? What would they be like? And then find somewhere in the middle. So when all of these things happen and you build on it and build on it and build on it, you get to where my wife and I are today. So after my walk today, which is why I'm all sweaty, I found this writing once again by Steve De'lano Garcia that moved me. It moved me to do this video. Like today's my self-care day. Well, like I usually have like the morning and the early afternoon where I just do things for me that make me happy. Well, his writings always like light me up, and I wasn't planning on doing a video, but after I read this, I had to. I had to because a toxic relationship, a codependent relationship, an unhappy relationship can all lead to this with work. Nothing and no one is not healable, just so you know. So I'm going to try to read this without getting super emotional because it just touches my heart. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. It touches my heart in a beautiful way. And this is mine and my wife's relationship today, from toxic to real love. And this is, in my opinion, this is how she loves me, but I think this is how we love each other. She'd have to let me know. But this is dedicated to my wife. I didn't write it. Steve De'lano Garcia did. All right, let's go. To love an independent woman, you love her by seeing the vastness in her and refusing to fence it in. You stand beside the field of her life and recognize that it existed before you and will bloom whether or not you are there. And that is a part of its beauty. You feel the ache and wonder of loving someone who can hold her own weight. And instead of feeling unnecessary, you become grateful to be chosen by a soul that does not need to be saved. You decide to be a witness, a partner, a steady lighthouse on her personal shoreline, and you begin by saying simple truths that do not try to claim her. I see you. I honor you. I am here. Respecting her boundaries is not a trick you use to get closer. It is the language you speak to prove you deserve to be near. You study where her yes lives and where her no guards the door, and you treat both as sacred. You do not argue with the gate or take it personally when it closes. You trust that a gate is how a garden stays alive. When she draws a line, you place your hand over your own heart and promise to keep that line safe, even in the moments where your longing wants to cross it. Over time, she finds that your restraint is not coldness, but care, that your patience is not distance, but devotion. Her strength is a storm and a shelter, a flame and a hearth. You do not call it intimidating as a way of excusing your own shrinking. You choose to grow big enough to stand beside it without casting shade. You watch the way she lifts her own world, and you do not climb onto her shoulders. You learn to carry your share so that her power can rest when it needs to. You praise her without turning her into a pedestal she cannot step down from. You let her be fierce, and you let her be tired, and you make both equally safe. Trust is earned in the small rooms where no one claps. It is made in quiet mornings where you keep the plan you made on a louder night. It is made in the messages you do not answer and the confessions you do not withhold. It is made in the way your eyes soften when she says something hard, and in the way your hands do not reach for her before your mouth asks if they may. She watches you when you think you are not being watched, and you live in such a way that being seen is not a danger, but a relief. Independence is not a wall to break, it is a door to knock on and a home to be invited into. You learn her rituals of solitude and you cherish them because they are practices that keep her whole. You do not mistake her quiet for distance or her silence for anger. You learn the seasons of her, and you do not demand summer when she is wintering. When she chooses to share her space, you step inside like a guest who intends to become family, gentle with the furniture, attentive to the history, grateful for the trust. The past that sharpened her edges is not your opponent. It is the teacher that gave her a language for safety. You ask it without insisting on a tour of every scar. You honor the story without trying to edit it. When old fear knocks in the middle of your brightest day, you do not scold it for being late. You make tea for the trembling and stay until the cup stops rattling in her hands. In doing so, you prove that love can be a present tense brave enough to sit with every tense that came before. Apology becomes a craft, not a performance. You do not throw words at the wound and call it healing. You change your tone when your tone has been a blade. You adjust habits where they have been careless. You practice repair the way a musician practices scales, not for applause, but for competence, so that when the inevitable dissonance arrives, your hands already know how to find harmony again. Pride learns to kneel in the temple of closeness. You stop keeping score because scorekeeping is a lonely bedmate. You let her correct you without feeling erased, and you offer your perspective without trying to overwrite hers. You learn the miracle that intimacy is not a debate to win, but a place where both of you get to be right about your own hearts and still meet in the middle. The everyday becomes the proving ground. Reliability turns into romance. The ride you promised, the dinner you planned, the bill you paid on time, the plant you watered without being asked, the way you remembered how she likes the water on the strawberries so they do not bruise. Small things stop being small because they are the bricks that make a home. And a home for her must be a place where she can set down her armor without checking the door every 5 minutes. Admiration is generous, not possessive. You do not praise her to claim her. You praise her to free her from the suspicion that she must choose between love and her fullest self. You speak well of her when she is not in the room, not to prove your goodness, but to protect her in absentia. Your private words match your public words so closely that she could step into your conversations like a person walking into a warm light. When she steps into her ambition, you do not become the weight tied to her ankle. You become the hand that steadies the ladder, the voice that says, I believe you can, the presence that loves her even when she fails, especially when she fails. Because failure is evidence of courage, and you are committed to loving her courage more than her medals. You celebrate the win not as a reason to take credit, but as a chance to clap until your palms sting. Desire grows up, it learns reverence. Your touch becomes a question that expects an answer, and your patience becomes the proof that the answer is hers to give. You learn to see holiness in the curve of her shoulder and the quiet of her forehead, to kiss in a way that says, I'm not trying to conquer a country. I am kneeling in a cathedral. You discover that the most beautiful form of wanting is the kind that can wait without turning tenderness into pressure. You tend to your own life so she does not have to be your oxygen mask every time the plane shakes. You keep promises to yourself. You pursue your own purpose. You earn your own rest. By becoming a self sustaining person, you turn the relationship into a place of exchange rather than extraction. She learns that loving you does not cost her the parts of herself she worked too hard to win. Conflict becomes a practice of staying human. You learn to argue without leaving the room in anger or staying in the room to punish. You let the heat out of your voice before it sets the house on fire. You choose timeouts that are agreements, not disappearances. You return when you said you would return, with softer sentences and a willingness to be changed by what you hear. Jealousy stops being a script and becomes a signal. Instead of accusing, you admit that something inside of you is afraid, and you ask for reassurance without demanding that she shrink her world to soothe you. In return, you reassure her, not with chains, but with choices you make when no one is looking. Fidelity becomes the quiet decision you keep making, the one that allows her to sleep through the night without waking to check if the door is still locked. Grief finds a chair at your table because life will hand you both losses you did not order. When her voice breaks, you do not rush to fix the sound. You hold the breaking until it slows. You learn what comfort actually looks like for her. Sometimes words, sometimes soup, sometimes a hand on the back and your presence like a blanket over a shaking body. You let her see you cry so she never has to feel like the only person made of water. Time becomes your favorite love letter. You do not hoard it or dole it out for good behavior. You make plans that include her and plans that release her, and both feel like respect. You understand that independence does not mean alone forever. And together does not mean together always. You let longing be a bridge instead of a punishment, and distance become proof that the bond breathes even when you are not in the same room. Earning trust is not a finish line you cross once. It is a road you walk daily with clean shoes. You sweep your side of the street, you notice when you tracked mud in, and you mop without being asked. You learn her triggers like landmarks on a map, and you drive that map with care, not fear, so she can relax into the passenger seat and look out the window without bracing. The future that you speak about is spacious. You do not write her name in wet concrete and call it love. You sketch possibilities in pencil and hand her the eraser and the pen. You invite her to redraw the map when the terrain changes, and you take joy in the revisions because it means the story is alive. Your promises are sturdy, not because they cannot change, but because they can adapt and still hold. In the end, loving an independent woman becomes a vow you renew in 100 unphotographed moments to respect what protects her, to embrace what empowers her, and to earn what opens her. It is a devotion that does not clip wings to feel tall, a tenderness that does not confuse closeness with control. It is the quiet courage to say, day after day, I will not make you feel smaller so I can feel bigger. I will grow with you. I will stand with you. And when the night lays its dark hand on the window and the world asks what love is, you will lay your palm over the steadfast drum of her heart and answer with a life that proves it. Steve De'lano Garcia. And I would I never thought I would get to say this, but that is our life today. That is just such a beautiful writing of exactly how we are with each other. We are both independent. We are both strong on our own, and we are a powerhouse together. And it's just going to get better. So if you're in a tough relationship, if you have been through horrible things and done horrible things to each other, but you're still sticking around, I invite you to consider taking time for yourself so you can create this beautiful love, this beautiful life. And even if it doesn't work out in your current relationship, you healing yourself will attract that beautiful love, because we teach people how to love us based on how we love ourselves. And when my wife and I didn't love ourselves, we certainly didn't know how to love each other. But oh, we do today. We do today, and we are happy today. So I'm here to tell you anything and everything is possible. Let love win by learning to love yourself. So if you like this video, please like it. Please share it. If you know somebody who is struggling with love, struggling with relationships, struggling with pain. Because love, it can be hard, but it can also be bliss. It can be bliss. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I am so grateful. I feel like this whole thing was self-care. I am still sticking to my self-care day. My wife actually came home in the middle of me reading that, and I was like, you need to go away. I said, I'm actually doing a video dedicated to you. And she's like, I'm sorry. She's like, this is Tuesday's my early day. And I was just like, well, I wasn't paying attention to the time, apparently. But I was like, you need to go into the bedroom and put some headphones on. She's like, I love you. Okay. That's my life today. And it can be yours too. So thank you. Thank you for watching. I send you energy for love, for healing, for acceptance of yourself, because that's where it all begins. Everything that you're going through, it's okay. It's going to teach you something. So thank you. I hope you have a great day, a great week, a great weekend when it arrives. And I love you. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.